So let me talk about second module of our Java subject. So instead of making videos part by part on each topic, let me just give you an overview on each module. So that is a better idea, because even I was facing some difficulties or problems like creating separately, and it's quite boring for you all to understand. So if you just see this full video, it should be like good for your module 2. So talking about module 2, so first we have classes in our module 2. Okay, so let us see now how to declare a small class. This basic syntax. Okay, so you know that a keyword class is a keyword. Okay, so we need this class followed by your class name. You can get any class name. Suppose I'll say class. Okay, so example. So this is my name of the class. Oh, it got erased. Example. And now what I will do, then I have types. Okay, type means your data type. You can give any data type. So how the way you used to declare in your C programs, right? Int a, int b, float a, char, whatever, in even struct. It's like structure itself, same in that, except I mean not, don't get confused. Just example I am giving. So type an instance variable. So what is this instance variable? It's nothing but whatever variable declared inside the class are known as your instance variable. Okay, so you can have n number of instance variable. After giving your variables, you have your functions or methods. Okay, methods. So in methods also nothing but you have to write same what type, either it is the int type of method or void method, like that. So again you have type, and then you have method name. Okay, method name followed by these functions, I mean parenthesis. Inside this you can pass any parameters. Suppose like void volume. In volume what will pass, int volume will pass. Okay, so then we will write any code here, return, suppose example return a is, suppose int a was there. Okay, here int a was there and this was volume. Okay, so I will write return a star a star a. Why? Because volume is nothing but a cube, right? For our cube, suppose the volume of cube it was. So like this we can write. So that same thing I have written here. Let us see here, class name followed by this open bracket type. Type is nothing but your int, char, float, double, short, long, byte, everything. Then instance variable, that is nothing but your a, b, c, d, or your any name or something. But make sure you follow the rule that it doesn't start with any number like 1, 2, 3, md. You can start with md or something. Mar 1, 2, 3 is fine, and mar at is wrong. Okay, this is wrong. If you write mar na, then underscore 1, 2, 3 is fine, but any special character is not allowed. Sometimes only dollar is allowed, but that is only rare cases. But don't use these things. Only underscore, remember that, only underscore. How you give your Instagram IDs, right, like that. But make sure you don't start with letters or any other things. It can start only with your alphabets, and you can use underscore. After starting with alphabet, you can use your numbers. Now let us see one example here. They have said class box. Okay, so I am creating a class of box. Then what are the members of this? So I am taking double. Double is my type here. Okay, and just let me write like this. This is my type. Then the type is data type. So here I have width, width. Okay, so double width. So instead of writing 3 times, I will write the width length, go to heaven, then height. Okay, so like this 3 things I have declared here, box. Okay, and height, width, depth. Then what I have did a class. So I will write my main program here. No need to close this class and then again write new class. That will cause error usually in our Java like while compiling Java program. So let me write public static void main, and you know what to write here, S capital string followed by square bracket args close the bracket, and you have to open your brackets like this, flower bracket. So here I will write a block of code. So now see, you know how to write a class, right? I wrote class box open bracket, so double. Here I did not give one thing, so let me just write method, right? I did not give method, so let me just put one method. Okay, so let me write void volume. Okay, then what I will say, return, I will say return width star length star height. Okay, close. Now I will write here main. I will put simply comment type I have written main. Just understand this means public static void main, like that. Okay, so like this I am just explaining you, and now you can see here. So I have to create an object for this. If I want to access these members, this is nothing but my class members, and this is my class method. Now I want to invoke this function, I want to call this function, and I want to assign values to this variables. How will I do that? By creating an object of this class. So what is an object? Object is nothing but instance of a class. Instance means like a child or something, not child exactly, but instance. Okay, so now how I will do? First I will write class name, okay, box, then give any name for your object. So here I will be have my object name. So suppose I will say object is obj is equals to new box. So new is nothing but a the way we use malloc, calloc and all in our C, the same way new is used here to allocate memory for our object. Okay, so it's dynamically allocated here and here. This is my without passing any parameters wala box over. So here object is created. Now two ways are there for writing. Either after writing my box obj is equals to new box, I can one by one obj dot width equals to, I can give like this. Okay, what is that? Width equals to 10. Same way for length I have to write obj dot length equals to 10, then obj dot height equals to 10. Then if I write obj dot volume. Okay, so if I call this, I will get the see these values whichever I wrote here na, that will be passed in this function one by one, and that calculation it will be calculated to return. Now it won't print because you have not written the printf statement. So let us just see here. Here what I have done, my class box name. So here in main function, instead of just obj, I have created an object name my box. Here you can see my box is equals to new box, then double volume. So my box dot width equals to 10, my box dot height equals to 20, depth equals to 15. Then instead of writing volume inside this, I have written in main function. You can do like this also. This is one example. Okay, here space was not there, so I couldn't explain properly. So here I have written the my box is volume, then I have written printf statement. So how will I write printf statement for this? So simply I will write shortcut SYSO volume is plus volume. Okay, here I have to declare a variable for volume, right? So simply I cannot write simply return directly this. So I have to assign that return this value. So I can say volume equals to this, something like that. So like that I have to return here. Okay, so that's why I have created a volume here, variable volume, double volume, my box dot width into my box dot height into my box dot depth. So the so 10 20 is 200, 215 is nothing but your how much it is 2000 200, right? 10 is 2000, then 3000. Okay, so that will be your answer printed. So we saw like what is class and how to declare an object of a class. Now let us see what is constructor. Okay, so now see we will talk about constructor. Sometimes what happen, it is a problem for every time for us to create object, to separately allocate this memory however we write, but it's a headache. That's why we go for constructor. So let us read the definition of a constructor. A constructor, it's visible, right? So a constructor initializes an object immediately upon creation. So okay, it has the same name as a class name. So whatever so suppose my class was box, right? The C is not capital, C is small, class box. So even my constructor, it's same like so I had here void volume, right? Like this. So I won't write any return type. So any type. So constructor doesn't have any return type. It won't have like a int or something. It won't be like that. Only the name of the, so same way only box. So this is my constructor. Okay, this is my default constructor. Sometimes I can pass any parameters into here, int like int x, int y. Then here I can say return x star y or something for multiplication of two numbers, or I can take square also. Suppose see box only int I. So I will say return I star I. So this thing returns square of some number like that. So let us see how here. Let us also study some like read some more points. It is invoked automatically when an object is created. So after in main program what we write, so box obj is equals to new box. So this is my object created here. You can give any name. Okay, suppose I will give what is say a box, circle, no, I'll say cartoon. So cartoon is an object, so whatever name you want you can give. While you create this, automatically the constructor will be invoked, that we say, and it has no return type, not even void. So that's all. Let us see an example now. So class box, okay. So same, now see here, let me show you just here, okay. So see here, class box double w comma h comma d. So instead of writing whole thing, I wrote like this, okay. So see here, this is my default, in this box this is constructor. It looks like a method, but it's same as my class name. So it is a constructor. You should understand that if your it has no return type, so it has the same name as class name, so it is my constructor. So what we used to do in main function, we used to give values for my this, right, object. So I can write like this: w equals to 10, h equals to 10, d equals to 10, close. And this is also my constructor. Okay, this is the way I am explaining you constructor, also overloading constructor within the same thing itself. So now see here, here what I am saying, I am writing box. So this is parameterized constructor. I am passing my parameters. Okay, let me just write here. It's not clear over there. So box. So what I am writing, let me take int instead of double. It's kind of lengthy to write. Int width comma int length comma int height. Then what I am writing like this, then I am saying width, this height, let me just write, okay, first, and then length. So equals to w, this equals to h, this equals to, like this I am giving. Anyhow this is fine. You can either give values also here if you want directly, but if you are giving like this, so you can, so now see, let us see what happens here. So in first thing what I did, I directly passed values. Here I just declared them as some other variables. Now we see in my main part, so I declared a created object. Okay, let me just erase this. Anyhow that's visible here, right? So what I did, box my box 1, okay, this is equals to new box array, new box, okay. Then again I created another object. So same, using same sentence, only this thing will change, okay. Everything is same. My box 2 is equals to new box. Now see here what difference I am doing. This I call the default constructor, this constructor. Now since I have 3 parameters inside this box, so I will pass my 10 comma 10 comma 10 and close, okay. So for second object is assigned for this kind of constructor. So one by one, this 10 10 10, so like respectively for width first, for depth second, then for height, like that it will go, okay. Now see here, then what I have written, I return I declared one method over here, void volume, okay, like this. In that I have written said return w star d star h, okay. So now what I will do, close so now if I want to call this function, how will you call? First I will call with the help of first object mb1 dot. So see, you have seen that operator is now mb1 dot volume. So I have to follow this. So this thing will invoke this function. Now how will it take the values? So as you can see here, we didn't pass any parameters, so it will automatically understand that it is called from this constructor. So the values which is assigned inside this constructor will be given here, and that will be generated. And let me call mb2 dot volume, okay. I have called both the volume function with the both objects, so I have to print this syso like this. So here you have to like simply call it, or if you don't say also, it will return that value. So from by using the print statement, you can return like this. Yeah, as you can see that the output will be like whatever you pass in the bracket, it will come out like that, okay. So then let us talk about garbage collection. We also have one keyword known as this, okay. So this nothing but like one extra thing it is. In detail you will be seeing this for other modules, but in for time being, what you have to understand, this keyword is used to point object, okay, object for the same class. So inside the same class it points the object, declares the object of the within the same thing. So it says this object belongs to I mean this member variables we have, right, like we had here width, depth, height. So it says that these variables belongs to this objects, okay. Understood, right? Suppose this is a box, okay. and here I have this pins. So what this keyword does, so it says that this key belongs to this object. Anyhow, it's like extra thing itself, nothing changes, you just have to add this. So how we write that is nothing but suppose I wrote this, had this box, right? Box, suppose I will write only int x comma int y. So what it will do, this dot x is equals to x, this dot y is equals to y. So from here what happens, whenever we call this function method, so only the values which are given for this particular thing only will be used. Outside other values they won't be used. So only for specifying the members for a specific object. Okay. So small thing it was. Anyhow, if you read the definition once, it will again confuse you, but still you will be able to understand. So now let us see what is garbage collection. Garbage collection is nothing but, now see, I created an object here, right? You can see my box, box mb1 is equals to new box, like this. So like that, suppose n number of objects are created. Now how the objects are created, for them memory is allocated. Now it should be deleted also, right? How to delete an object? So object should also get destroyed in order to release the memory. If I don't destroy or deallocate an object, then I won't be having space itself. At the end, for one moment, I'll face the shortage of memory. So I have to like destroy this object and free some space. So how the deallocation is done? You know in that C++ or C, we use the delete operator or we use that free thing. So whenever I create something, so we will write free, then that PTR will be there. So then from this memory will be deallocated. But how it is done in Java? So in Java it's so good that automatically, after we have not used the object for a long time, so it automatically deallocates the object. Okay, so this thing is nothing but in Java, deallocation is handled automatically. This technique is called your garbage collection. That's it. Few more extra points are there related to garbage collection. I just gave you some points to understand. You can write the same thing. If you want, you can just refer notes. Now we'll see about overloading methods. Okay, overloading method is nothing but the method name is same. Okay, but my parameters is different. Okay, let us see one example for the same thing, box. Okay, so class box. So suppose only int x is there. Okay, now I won't use that width and all. Now I will use method void add. Okay, let me also give here y, int x comma int y. So here what I will write, return x plus y, close. So same thing I will write again, void add. Okay, then I will write int a comma int b, or better let me take, instead of void I will say double. Here what I will say, instead of int data type I will say double a comma double b, then I will say return a plus b. So see here my method name is same but parameters are different. So that's how that is nothing but your method overloading. So that's how here we have. So now suppose I have a function now. See here, I will take the example of this. So I will say class overload. So just concentrate here. Now see here what I have done. So only I have written void test. Okay, sorry, void test, and I am not passing itself any arguments. So here what I will say, inside this I will write system dot out dot println. What I have written here, no parameters. Okay, no parameter. Same again, void test int I. So same thing again I will print here a. Okay, int I. So I will say system dot auto print, then I is, then plus I. So this thing will print this statement, and plus I nothing but it will print the value of I. Then again void test int I comma, so let me take int a comma int b. Here what I will say, system dot out dot println A is plus A plus B is plus B, like this I will close. Now see three methods I have written. Okay, so I have overloaded a method named test in three ways. One, by passing no parameters, only passing one parameter and passing two parameters. Now I have created an object. Okay, so see here I created an object. So my overload, right? Overload class name, overload OB is equals to new overload. Okay, so see here I created an object of overload and I didn't pass any parameters. Okay, now see here I will create another same way, OB2, let me do OB1 is equals to same thing, in bracket I will write only 2. Okay, so this is nothing but my so this thing will invoke this first one. Okay, now this thing will invoke my this second only one parameter wala method. Now if I pass more than 1, 2 comma 3, so it will call this wala. So you saw how this will be like called. Okay, so one by one, so how we call each kind of method, just whatever parameter we are passing in this object bracket, it depends on that. Okay, so that's what you should know. I know that here somewhere light is falling and you cannot see, but here anyhow you can see this written material over here. So one more thing I wanted to say here about box. Okay, so I talked about default and parameters. There is another constructor known as copy constructor, where now suppose I created one object for this box. Okay, same, let us say take same example mb1 is equals to new box. Okay, suppose I am passing only parameter as some 10, just I think some function was there for that. Then I am creating another box mb2 is equals to, okay, suppose there is no parameters over here. Okay, new box, and this is good example 10 10 10. Okay, same, so here nothing will be wrong here, same thing. So here our default constructor is invoked, and now here this constructor. So now I will call another function, create another object, copy, that's it, then copy one, let me give like this. So what it will say, in the parameter box I will pass mb2. So here you can see two things are happening here. One, I am passing my object as a parameter. Second, I am also declaring this copy constructor. Okay, so nothing but from the constructor itself, now that values are here, it's going. So two things, two in one. Okay, they say na in Hindi ek teesra do insaan, like that. Two things I am explaining. One, I am explaining how the objects are passed as parameter. First, I can declare an object and pass parameter separately for that. Then instead of giving literals is nothing but your variable numbers and all, I am directly passing my object. So this is nothing but since constructors are used here, as you can see this constructor itself, right? So whole thing constructor is also copy constructor. So yeah, from one constructor things are going to another object as a constructor parameter itself. Though it was confusing, but I hope the ones who knew something about Java will obviously understand. Those who are like new one, so it will be like little problem. So it's all about exam point of view itself. So let us see what do we have next. So here we have two things. One is a call by value and call by reference. Okay, so this is one interesting topic here. Now remember one thing, what happens in call by value. So let me divide the board. So in value na, and here reference. So remember, suppose I have int x is equals to 10 comma y is equals to 20. Same thing I have here. Let me take a is equals to 1, b is equals to 2. So here what happens, here whenever I am writing my method inside this na, in call by value what happens, the copy of this will be made, like Xerox one copy, same color Xerox will be made. That copy is passed to method and it is solved. Okay, function is performed. But here what happens, instead of copy, okay, ampersand a, just understand from this, actual thing is in C. So don't, I am just giving the address of this reference of this is going, nothing but address. So let us see. So here copy of in call by value, copy of the value is a variable is going. In call by reference, we are actually passing the parameter. Now see here, test object. So I have written one class tester and I have written a void method, nothing but int I comma int j. So what will happen, I equals to I into 2 and j equals to j divided by 2. So this is your j. Okay, don't get confused. So here star equals to 2, nothing but I have written here, okay, like a comment what it is. So class call by value, and I have called the main function test. So class name test, I am creating one object OB is equals to new test, I have not passed any parameters. So now I am declaring some value int a equals to 15 and b equals to 20. I can also write 15 comma 20 here. So what will happen, system dot out dot println a and b before call, value of a and b before call plus a plus b have written here, and object method, I am calling this method of function here ob dot meth. So this function is called and I have passed a and b as my parameters. Okay. Then again I have written the printf statement a and b after the call of the method. So I have printed a and b value. Now see here, since I declared a equals 15 and b equals 20, so value of a and b, first it will be 15 and 20 will be printed as it is. Now I call this function. Now see here, what will happen, a is equals to a into 2, right, b should be equals to b by 2. So since a was 15, it should become 30 and b was 20, it should become 10. But will it become 10 after this calling this method? No, it will not become. My output will be still 15 and 20 for this statement. Why? Because when we pass the value, right, so here as you can see, only the reference copy, I mean not reference, copy of the value have been passed here. Whatever the value was made, that is inside this itself, but it didn't come out, right, we didn't write any return or something here. If we had written return I equals to like that or like that, return I and j, then actual value would have changed. But here nothing, we have not returning any reference or value, here only passing the value. So whatever thing was calculated inside this function won't be passed back out to the main function. So here my this value should be 15 15, so 20 20 same. Now see the same test what I am doing here, test of int I comma int j. So here what I am doing, a equals to I, b equals to j. Okay, so now what I am saying, I am giving the assigning itself directly. Here directly whatever parameters came, I am changing their values. Here what I am doing, I am assigning them to another variable. So now what will happen, let us see. Void method test of, so this is one method which I am writing here, test o. I am passing an object as an parameter here. Okay, passing an object. So now what I am doing, o dot a star equals to 2, o dot b divide by equals to 2. Okay. So here what I am doing, instead of calling directly saying one letter or I mean one variable, I am using the address or reference of this. So now in main, so I am creating one object of that test obj equals to new test 15 comma 20. Okay, so here instead of writing the like this, I am passing directly here. So now see here, system dot out dot println or object dot a and object dot b before call, I am giving the value a plus b. Now I am calling this function, this wala here which is there, ob dot meth ob. So I am passing this object itself, I am passing this object here. So if I pass object here, what is going, 15 and 20 is going here. So if 15 and 20 are going here, so a will be my 15 and b will be my 20. So now the values whatever is changing here, that will be affected here. And as you can see in output, for this line it is 50 and 20, for another line it is 30 and 10. So that's what you have to know, and yeah, that's it. So nothing else is required for this module. Any doubts or anything you want me to cover in this module, you can ask me. Anyhow, let me just check, I have like completed. So access control, static, final and nested. So let me talk about final. Okay, so what does this final do is nothing but, suppose here, okay, let me just say final is a thing, nothing but it finalizes the value of that. Suppose I am writing final int I equals to 10. So no matter here if I change int I equals to 20 also, this won't be affected, because here I have made it finally final 10 itself. So nothing values can be changed. So I can use final for my methods also, final for final void method something, final this variable also. So for this kind of thing final can do. So what is static is nothing but also the same way. Static things can be accessed directly or used in one same thing. Here one normal program I have written for incrementing by 10. So any a value how to increment 10 and return that by in my this thing, what to say, in output result. So this one sample program for understanding more properly. And another thing which is there, nested and inner class. So that's not much is there. So whatever we studied, from that you should be able to understand that. Just refer the notes for the remaining topics. Even if you have still any doubts, you can just comment and ask me about the topic. So if you just see this your lecture, this should be enough for you to understand your module 2 in Java. So I hope you understood this lecture, and if you have any doubts, you can just let me know.